Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku's Showboat. Today is Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. If you're watching the VODs on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/OtakuShowboat to leave a follow to be notified when I go live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can do all of the social stuff through the links below the video, including supporting Planeton's mods development at patreon.com/Planetton, and myself at patreon.com/Otaku Showboat. So, today, I guess first I'll start with my general updates, in that on Friday, the kittens had their latest vet appointment and got their rabies shots, as well as the first of two distemper shots. So they actually have to go back in about 3 weeks for part two of distemper, as far as I'm following all that, if I'm actually following that accurately. Ollie's overweight. He is big boy, over 5 pounds, and Dolly is normal, about 3.8 pounds at 4 months. So that is what it is. Their diets are changing, in part because they also have some GI issues. The vet wants them to only have dry food now. So no wet food whatsoever. They're used to eating wet food 3 times a day and having access to dry food 24 hours a day. Now they're supposed to only get dry food 3 times a day without any food between meals. So that's fun. They also both had yeast in their ears still, despite the last time we had gone to the vet. Ollie did not have any yeast, but Dolly did, and we were giving her eardrops for it. Yeah, so apparently they both got it again. Still, eardrops did jack all, and I guess Dolly gave it back to Ollie somehow. So, yay! They got an ointment at the vet, so we don't have to do anything at all in regards to the ears. Just let the ointment do its work, and we'll see what happens over time. We're not supposed to do anything with that ointment in their ears. Not supposed to do any washing or any of that. No more drops. No more of the anything. Just have to make sure we only feed them 3 times a day with dry food, which they're not going to be happy about. So, anywhoozle, the game updated again to version 1840 between last time and this time, fixing a few bugs. And speaking of bugs, the Train Supply Manager also had a bug in its release this morning that I had to go in and manually fix. There's people posted about it on the Train Supply Manager forum. It's literally an if statement was missing a then, because it's like, if such and such, then do other things. But yeah, they missed the then on like 1170 on control.lua, which, yes, there's over 2,000 lines of control code for Train Supply Manager. So yeah, that was fun, having to fix that because there was an error on load of saves. It wouldn't actually load a save with Train Supply Manager in use on it, because of that. Somehow, missing a then after an if doesn't stop the game from actually loading. I did not know that, but what it does do is it stops the game from loading a save if it's missing the then statement after an if. So, what did I do off screen? Well, I added this here at the mall. I also added this stuff for the mall. I actually built the mall. Ish. Just various useful things, a few buildings that are of use for me at this point in time, as well as preparing for a couple of things that I can't make at the moment, and yeah, just stuff I want, stuff I desperately want. And I also started building a few units of rail and placing down some concrete. Just a few units of rail and a bit of stone bricks and concrete have been placed around the place. Just a few. So I use the modular rail system 2-lane primarily. So what I've done with that is I have set up these little, small little blocks. They are 4 straight rail segments. If I can get this, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 straight rail segments, and then flanked by the intersections. And then in between the big blocks, it's just double the intersections. So I have a nice big runway, specifically so that I can take my vehicle and run between these blocks. And then this right here is going to be another runway. Just for example, as I scale outward, it's going to be these sets of two. These sets of 2 with the line of rail between. If I need the full space, this allows me to delete this central section if I do need that space. So sometimes you need a little bit more space. In Factorio, yes, my rock finder, a path from my rock finder, where we're playing a map that has no rocks, so it's more accurately going to be a pipe finder this time around, not so much a rock finder. Now, you may also notice in here that I've got a few additional things that aren't part of the actual modular rail system. In particular, I needed to add medium power poles because I don't have the big ones yet. And B, there is no chance in hell that I'm actually going to manually place all of this concrete and actual stone path and the actual rails themselves across this whole base. Like there is no chance in hell that I'm going to be manually doing all of this all the time to expand the entire base. So what I have done, and I say I've got stuck bots trying to get all the way up here because they're stupid and they're dumb and they're complete morons. But I can go over here and just manually get that done. Whatever. I am on ×5 game speed at the moment, for however much I can get out of that. ×5 would be 300 FPS, but we're about 3.5, 4. So yeah, I've put a whole bunch of roboports. I just added a roboport to the straight rail segment and manually placed a few others around the thingies, as well as a whole bunch of recharge stations so that they can recharge. It's glorious and beautiful and magnificent. These guys should go home once I manually place down what they're trying to build all the way up here. I guess I should have a line of rail. I suppose I should put some form of intersection, or just bring this up and connect here. Just replace this guy with a turn. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's replace this with a turn. That is relatively simple to do. Just grab this, go to my curve, that one, and then just straight rail all the way. I should start from the bottom because that's how they're going to build this. Just go all the way up, and I can do this from the map too. That's the great thing about this particular update to the game, is I can just go right on up from the map view and have it scaled beautifully. That's so absolutely magnificent that this can do the thing like that. I did set up my snapping of it. The problem with the modular rail system is that it does not handle the settings all that well. Doesn't quite handle the settings all that well with the snapping. So if I set, for example, this to absolute reference point and like actually get it in the center of this, if I set this, this won't tile. Allow me to show you. I will show you how this doesn't tile. So if I click there, if I can do the single line, but if I try to put an intersection on here, it doesn't actually align to the intersection. See? If I try to go downward, it doesn't align properly. If I put a T intersection somewhere in here, like there, sure, just overwrite that. If I try to put the straight segment below it, you see it can't connect. It can't connect. So that's the problem with the absolute reference with the modular rail system. It just doesn't work with intersections. It just does not work with intersections. Not without a lot of manual tweaking of things that I'm not going to do. I refuse. I refuse to do the manual tweaking of BS stuff. But anyway, so that's that. It's being built as I get roboports. That's the issue here with all of this, is that it is a lot of roboports, which means that's a lot of circuits, right? That's a lot of circuits. A lot of circuits. Just make the X and Y chunk size, but no, that still won't work. The thing is not designed around the concept of chunks. Modular rail system is not designed around chunk size. It will never properly snap easily. There's no set one thing that you can do. I'd be willing to download a blueprint book that has all of those things set that actually does it that way. Someone else going through the effort. I am not going to go through the effort. I am not going to go through the effort of trying to make it fit with the absolute reference point. I can make it fit with the grid size. You just decrease the grid size by a couple of units down to 42 on the straight segment, and that's really the only one that needs it, is just to even have the grid size thing down, because this is the only one you're going to be, like, going down lines of, right? The only one you need to properly snap on the map. But yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. They're building my rails. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. They know how to do their work, and they do it beautifully. It also, with all these nice little medium power poles, does give power to all of the lamps. So I do have plenty of light on all of these rails. The issue is, of course, that we have 362 alerts right now that I want to kill with fire. So that is the plan for the day. That is the plan. We need to make big power poles, as well as a whole bunch of other stuff that uses niobium plates. So we need niobium. Before I get into that, though, I do need to make note that I expanded the amount of seaweed here feeding into the fish, because I noticed that the fish line wasn't actually getting enough seaweed. Also put more coverage of radar out here. Yeah, it wasn't feeding the whole thing with seaweed. So now it is. Now that I added 100 of the Mark Zero seaweed farms, feeding in additional seaweed. It's glorious. They have enough now. I also expanded power by adding another 80 seaweeds for another 120 megawatts of available power, because as it turns out, I only had about 300. And as you can see, it's that number's pretty close to 300. That's 120. That's 120. And that's 60. So it was 300 before. Now it's 420 ish. Little bit more than that, but whatever. It's effectively 320. 420, excuse me. So I have a little bit more room to work with regards to the power. However, I am thinking of changing this at some point to a new design that will look a little bit like this. My current thoughts of the new design for power is likely going to just be tar. What's magical about this 250 on tar is that that is this right here. One of these. I know it's nighttime, you can barely see it, but this is 1 DDC with 20 washers or 10 washers, excuse me, and 20 sand extractors, and a whole bunch of water. This right here makes 250 tar per second, which, as you can see here, makes up to 50 biomass per second, which is a bit. It's a bit. If we look here, we see that it's 6 point. It's 7.3 per 300 combustion mixture, which yeah, that's 6 powerhouses. That's 60 megawatts ish. That's 5 combustion turbines making power. So yeah, if you do 7.3, which I guess we could just round up, say that's 7.5, help cover what's used on the voiding of ash in this process. If we say that's about 7.5, that's every 15, every yellow belt of biomass would be 120 megawatts. Well, this is 3. This is like 3 plus an extra 5 if we do tar. So one of those is capable of 3 by 120 on the biomass here, which yeah, that's a bit. That's a bit. 360 megawatts out of this. Now that's a lot of compost plants, mind you. That is 38 compost plants. They are not cheap. However, it is taking one of these and making 360 megawatts out of it, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. It is, however, doing that. I do need more tar, because it's going to do that out of the coal gas stuff, the syngas, which in and of itself is also going to use a little bit more tar, so not actually full 360, because it is going to use some of the tar for actually doing this process as well. I can move faster. Yay. Yay! I can move marginally faster. Let's continue taking techs. I still have techs, but they're all just like quality of life techs at this point. Mainly, there's no more like actual real stuff that unlocks at this point. I have picked up the next level of the Factorio buildings, although I do have to laugh at the 2,000 science for the recursion one. That's definitely laughable. As is the 5,000 for recursion 2. That's definitely a sink right there. But otherwise, we've basically got all the techs at this point, which means I can now actually process my niobium, my glorious, beautiful, wonderful niobium. What's that doing there? That doesn't need to be there. I can process this beautiful stuff. Yay, this stuff. Now, the question, of course, is where am I going to do that? I've also been experimenting, you can probably see here, with actual train stations inside of these setups. Just a little experiment here. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do in regards to the train stations. I'm trying to get it so that I don't have to use all of the space in one of the blocks for train station stuff, but there may not be that much of a way around it. Of course, my issue here is that the last that last wagon sits on the side. It's curved. It's not on straight rail, and that annoys me greatly. Everything else will sit on straight rail as straight as possible, but this particular one, there's just not enough room. There's just not enough room here for it to sit on straight rail, and this is the depot. This is the stations, the requester stations, and the loading stations. This is the waiting location where the trains will come in, they'll park, and they'll sit until there's an available spot to fill any requests or get filled in the regular station. And then they go into this supply depot yard from the regular stations to sit and wait until they get requested with Train Supply Manager. This yard, this depot, can exist anywhere. It doesn't have to be here. So I'm thinking I might actually have just an entire square devoted just to the supply depots and just have trains come in and just sit for their requests and then go out, fill requests, and come back to that centralized depot area. That might be a better plan. It would need another one of these waiting locations, just in case. Something small, though. It doesn't need to be anywhere near the same ability to scale as this needs to be. But it would eliminate this and allow me a little bit more space for stuff. Just thoughts. Just some thoughts on how I want to have my train stations going forward. Now, that's going to be really different when it comes up to this stuff, because this stuff over here is not actually going to fit the same way as all of this. Just because I'm going to sort of be building around what I currently have. And yeah, this is just going to be a huge block. I'll probably put in a little bit of a train station area here to pick up some of this stuff, but don't know quite yet exactly what we're going to do. However, what I do know that we need to do is set up Niobium. That is the plan for the day today. Now, I already have this listed out, a plan for making Niobium. I do have at least a plan. I will not be able to process all of this at this point in time, because I do not have even remotely close to enough urea to do this processing. There is nowhere near remotely enough to actually do the full amount of processing of the whatever amount of ore into 3 plates per second. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Not anywhere on this earth will this happen at this point in time. Later, I will get access to a better recipe out of hydrogen and nitrogen to make ammonia by adding chromium to it. That'll be the main source of ammonia. But I don't get access to that recipe until blue science, chemical science packs, which, yeah, that means I'm going to need to have that brain stuff going. That'll be like one of the first things I take from blue science, uh, through vat brain biocomputing, just so I can get access to the abiotic ammonia. Apparently, infantryman is making a whole bunch of acetylene. I am so happy that I don't need to make acetylene anytime soon, because while it's needed to mine lead and titanium through ground boring, and it is needed for boron mixture, I don't need it yet. I don't need it quite yet. However, when I do want to do this ground boring, I will absolutely need it. And I need to be thinking about self-contained setups for building out Drilling Fluid 1. I need to be thinking about self-contained setups for making Drilling Fluid 1, which, yeah, that's going to be fun. Quote-unquote fun. Bringing back the self-contained DF1s. Which reminds me, we still have yet to have the Guar overhaul into the current module system, life system, using Guar as modules for the Guar plantations. That still has yet to happen. Partly because Guar plantations don't actually have a Mark 2, 3, or 4 version, so that probably makes it a little bit harder. It makes it a little bit harder because you have to retrofit a Mark 2, 3, and 4 version of the Guar plantations to really get it matching the current systems. I'm fine with it existing as it is. Cough, cough. But yeah, this is something that I will need. Note the copper ore here, which, by the way, you can ground bore using simply coal gas and lubricant. This was a my idea thing, where instead of having this use Drilling Fluid 1, which uses copper ore, make it coal gas lube, because there's a nice progression between the Drilling Fluid 1, 2, and 3 if you're trying to get everything by ground boring. The coal gas and lube of copper makes your Drilling Fluid 1, and then you use the Drilling Fluid 1 to get your silver by ground boring lead to get your Drilling Fluid 2 and 3. So yeah, that it's useful. And then the Drilling Fluid 2 is used to mine a thing that you need for your Drilling Fluid 3 as well. So you have Drilling Fluid 3 needing things that use 1 and 2 if you're ground boring those things. So yeah, it's logical progression. Very logical progression on how the Drilling Fluid things work. Let's pick this one up, because apparently I haven't yet, even though there's no chance in hell I'm actually doing any of these recipes using bedding at this point in time, at this level of science. I will not be planning on doing bedding at this point in time. Let's go back to game speed 2 for the moment. So I should have the buildings that I need already. I probably don't have the electrolyzers. Oh, I do. I do have enough electrolyzers. Good. Good. I do have them. So, what makes niobium awful? Well, under normal circumstances, in order to even mine this stuff, you need refined syngas, which is pretty awful at the beginning of a Pi playthrough. It's pretty difficult to go into that. You're nearly enough forced into going into zinc processing first, but fortunately we don't have to think about that aspect here in PyBlock, because niobium is tied to borax. What we do need to worry about, though, are the other things involved in the actual processing of the niobium. Those things being ammonia, organic solvent, and hydrogen chloride. Those three things are highly, highly problematic at this phase of the game. Why? The ammonia in particular is locked with urea, which in Pi Alien Life means a gigantic infrastructure if you want to get urea out of manure. Now, I have looked at this. A couple of options for this. Option the first is out of blood, which at this phase of the game, our only real bet for blood is Augs. Our only real bet on the blood is Aug blood, although I haven't really looked at the Mukmo either. You have Augs or Mukmo. Take your pick. Or Ulrich, but I would say that that's a bit too low on Ulrich. Why Augs? Would be because the initial recipe on the Augs is pretty easy overall. It's moss and biomass. And then Mukmo, the basic of basic recipes on the Mukmo is a Relesia setup, which, yeah, and it's Relesia and Faugi for the basic Mukmo setup. So you get to take your pick between an even bigger building in the form of the Mukmo or the slightly smaller building in the form of the Augs, but also one is Relesia and Faugi, big setups for those, and the other is a big setup for moss and biomass. But yeah, so that's one way of getting 30 urea is just all of these buildings, all 404 buildings via this one's via Augs. In the alternative, you have manure. We'll look at the Mukmo for the manure because Mukmo are objectively the best output of manure overall, and we see the Relesia seeds and the Thalagi here on the base recipe for those. This one's fewer buildings, or actually, it's more buildings when you look at the full thing. It's more buildings. It's less power. No, it's significantly more power. I take everything back. So there's this, which is 53 Mukmo pastures. It's fewer. It's far fewer pasture type buildings, but it's more on other things like the Relesia and the Falgi with the spore collectors. So yeah, yeah, it it's like take your pick between bad and worse for the production of urea at this point. And this also applies just straight up to manure in general and anything that uses manure at this science level. Until you get access to more easily being able to do better recipes than this. I mean, the scaling on Pi Alien Life is just absurd. I get that's my impressions. Having gone through an entire Pi Alien Life playthrough, the scaling at the end of the game is just massive. It's exponential basically. You are able to make way more stuff on way smaller of builds in the late game by comparison to the beginning of the game. They do not compare to each other really. There's just it's so much more output at the late game. So much more output once you get access to those better recipes and have the infrastructure to support those late game recipes. It's just absolutely insane. But we have to get there, which means that we will at some point need to build some manure. But I don't really like the concept of spending plates on urea, even though it is relatively low amounts of plates. So I am going to do what I can to avoid having to make a urea build for a little while. Now, I do have some urea. This is why I made sure that my fish are constantly moving. This is why I made sure the fish are constantly moving. I do have an excess of the wastewater. I do have excess wastewater, and you can See, it's currently being voided. That can become additional urea. Uh, Urea from wastewater is which building? Is it also the atomizer? It is the evaporator, so you can convert wastewater into urea in evaporators. And I think that's the first thing I'm going to go and do is take some evaporator and walk on up and put this down to add a little bit more oomph to the urea production over here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down like right here. And you are going to be making me urea out of wastewater. Now, how am I going to get this wastewater over? That is the question. It's actually looking pretty-ish simple enough. Just make that there. Yeah, just shift that over one and we'll be fine. What's ironic here is that I'm building all of these, using all these pipes when we're about to be able to have much, much better pipes in the form of the niobium pipes. They will have significantly larger pipe to ground distance, which in and of itself is going to be absolutely fantastic. That faced the wrong direction. That's going to go out there. That's going to process all of that excess wastewater. In fact, I need to tell it to process excess wastewater. Having this here like this, though, means that this is still going to void. I don't want that. Instead, what I want is another doohickey, and then void from here. Remembering that this actually voids 200 per second of the wastewater. This isn't even processing all of the wastewater overflow. I think the wastewater overflow is, yeah, a fair bit higher. I have over 200 of these. I have like 270 something of these. So I need to actually have this over a little bit with another one of these. I need another doohickey. Oops. There you go. Process the stuff into things. Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of urea from wastewater. Just gonna throw that concept out there. Now, why am I not doing the from fish stuff in this setup? Because you don't actually get access to the dedicated fish blood recipe until blue science. It's annoying. It is mildly annoying that that is the case. At least I think it's blue science. The fish blood. Where are you? It should be one of the available texts. Let's do blood. Blood, not blood. 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 Water animal stage 2. Right there. That is blood from fish. Dedicated recipe. That is the one that I would need if I want to consider doing fish into urea, which has the benefit, although huge, of using the zero power Mark Zero fish farms. That's the idea. It's useful if you can do the zero power fish farms to convert the fish into blood and wastewater that you can convert totally into urea and have something completely dedicated on the production of urea. Also, being able to convert fish oil into lubricant helps, I guess, if you really want to focus a bit on actually using fish oil for stuff. But anyway, so that's my urea improved a little bit. Now I need to figure out how and where I am going to actually build this stuff. That is the issue. Where did I park? Where's my vehicle? All the way up here. Dang. Vehicle is all the way up there. Now, do I need anything specific? I do need copper plates and lead. I need copper and lead, and I need the lamps. So, if I need the lamps, the better way of doing that is here for the HCl. So, around in the mall, for now, we're going to have our HCl, which we just need one chemical plant for the HCl, but we do need 3 electrolyzers to produce enough chlorine. This can be anywhere, though. But for the sake of simplicity, I do have a voiding line there, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to make use of this voiding line for the excess sodium hydroxide. That's what I will do. Let's get this going there. I do have access to way more than enough saline water. That I am not worried about in the slightest. And then how much hydrogen is coming out of this? Way low values. That, and that. My tech happened. Yay. Sure. Reach. Go with reach. I like reach. Reach is good. I like being able to reach stuff. That'll go there, and then we void. Hello! Welcome. Welcome! I am working towards the Niobium. The great and powerful Niobium. Connect. Power! Power! We has power. There we go. Let there be saline water. Somewhere. Somewhere. All the way around. And then somewhere over here, I'm going to take this saline water out this way. This is so dumb. Or could I just put it that way? I guess that's simpler. That is a better idea. We're gonna go the other direction. The direction that actually makes sense. Oh, how did you get rotated? Randomly. Yes, stuff is gonna be going everywhere. Can I go down here? I guess. I can try. Not that line, apparently. You know what would help is probably doing... Ah, I see. Well, that can just die. That does not need to be there. Oh. Well, if that's gonna be the way that goes, you can do that. Ta-da! Get rid of that. So I have, as I said, way more than plenty saline water for all of my needs. For all of the needs. Nice little sodium hydroxide there. I should be able to stack this to void it, so I will. At least I think I should be able to stack it to void it. I think so. And then a singular, just a singular chemical plant. Oh, why did I say void the hydrogen when I totally need it exactly 1-to-1 into my HCl? It is exact 1-to-1 into the HCl, so I don't need that at all. And in fact, I now officially have, too much chlorine. So yeah, about that. So grab that. This is just out of the logistics zone, which is fine. Yeah, this is just fine. Now, I'm gonna do that. This solves the looping back of the lamps, by the way. That is within the range, so we are good to go from here. There it is, HCl, glorious hydrogen chloride. This being, of course, the gaseous form of the HCl stuff. If it is liquid, it is called hydrochloric acid. If it is liquid, it is hydrochloric acid. Now, I do need to bring this one to the bus. Somehow. Somehow, some way, some shape, some form, it needs to get up to my fluid bus. Seriously. There we go. Please be a valid line. That should be a valid line. Really looking forward to those niobium pipes. Really looking forward to those niobium pipes. And there we go. There's our line of HCl. Now, while I'm here with access to my beautiful urea, I will do the same exact thing with the ammonia. The exact same thing for ammonia. I need 6 of these. I will, I guess, do it this way. On the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Now, the thing about this ammonia recipe is the spacing is just fine. Just like that. And then this with that and that. You are going to take all of the ammonia ever. Give power. I like the power. Give the power. Then we're tasked with getting this from here to here. This line. Pretty sure going this way is going to be ever so slightly easier. Yeah, just as long as I don't run afoul of the stuff that's placed already. There's that, and that, and that, and that, and we're good. That goes all the way up now. Yay! That's 2 out of 3. That be 2 out of 3. What about the third one? The organic solvent. Yeah, that's a little bit more tricky. So, the organic... Excuse me? Oh, I must not be looking at the thing that is pinned. Yes. Yes, I need to look at the thing that's pinned. Speaking of which, phytoplankton, pretty good to make biomass out of as well. Pretty good for making biomass by looping biomass into flue gas. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Also, I was comparing the raw coal actually to wood-based coal, and it's somewhat reasonable. Like, I can argue both ways. We're doing raw coal processing at Green Science for coal from seaweed, raw coal, as well as for going wood-based coal. So the argument for the seaweed raw coal processing into coal is that it's only 5.6 megawatts of power. It is 236 buildings. By comparison, the wood-based coal is close to 20. It's 19.4 megawatts of power, but it's only 110 buildings for the same output, and you end up with iron oxide, and you end up with a trace amount of coal gas and tar out of it. Excess tar out of it. It looks like though I didn't actually put in the stone, so it's a couple more buildings for the stone, but that's like bleh. Just ignore it. It's super simple. On that, that's like 3 buildings for 2.5 stone. It's 3 buildings. It's literally 3 buildings more. So to get an accurate count here, we have 20.2 megawatts with 113 from water input on this versus this one, which is all from water, giving still a little bit of coal, gas, and tar, but it's exclusively from seaweed farms. 220 seaweed farms processing into coal. So in terms of, this is the simpler in terms of the actual number of steps process than this one from wood, but this one is fewer buildings overall, but it's also more power overall than this one. So I've got arguments for both, which is ideal. It's ideal to have this type of a choice. Either build bigger with less power, or build smaller and more complexly with more power. You're trading space for power, which is, I think, one of the better options that you can have in the Pi suite. One of the best things is trading space for power and power for space. So, I was talking about the back, I say, to this thing. Let me tick mark stuffs here. Yes, tick mark the things which I have done, which includes you as well. So those are the things which we have done thus far today in our first 55 minutes of the stream, stuff towards the goal. Okay. The organic solvent is a problem. If I wanted to do zinc processing first, it would make the organic solvent a little bit easier. But I don't feel like doing that, because you need to set up drilling fluid 2 in PyBlock in order to even get zinc ore in the first place, which means I would need to set up silver processing from lead, and that's its own whole can of worms there. doing the silver processing, just to make the drilling fluid 2. And ideally, I would have a self-contained system that is making silver for the eventual ethylene glycol that's part of the drilling fluid 2 production, which would also mean drilling fluid 1 would be included in that, which would mean copper would be included in that. It's complex. It's very complex and massive, and not something I want to spend the day to day doing when I have a whole bunch of other things that need to get done that have higher priority. So instead, there is the acetone syngas process. Now, you may be wondering, well, acetone, yes, there is the phenol recipe that gives you acetone from cumene. The problem is that the production of cumene, while there is a very good recipe to produce cumene out of one of the distillates, the stripped distillates, I think is the one that gets used, uh, you don't actually get access to that recipe until at least Blue Science. You don't get access to that recipe at Green Science, which is frustrating to say the least. Let's see if I go searching here for this. While you do have access to this, it's the cumene. That's the problem. Titanium tetrachloride would be amazing with the strip distillates to make the cumene here, but all we have access to right now is the ceramic benzene phosphoric acid and propene recipe, in which that phosphoric acid makes it prohibitive to use for this. That is a whole other chain of stuff to do. That being said, Pyanodon has added relatively recently a dedicated acetone recipe. It's also quite painful, but it's possible for this phase of the game, which is why I'm going to do this. It is copper, chromite sand, propene, and pressured air in an FB reactor. So that's what we're going to be doing. We need 2 FB reactors, we need 2 gasifiers for the propene, and we need a solid separator to make the chromite sand out of rich dust, which, if you remember anything about rich dust is also used for titanium, and I've got builds for that for days. Like, I have a build for that already, so I can just copy-paste, get the rich dust that I need to then solid separate into sufficient amounts of chromite sand. This will also give a supply of iron oxide, which means that I think I want to do at least this step somewhere nearby to my mall, make it accessible for the robots in the mall to have a source of iron oxide, just in case I want to make pyrite for solar panels. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So that is this plan. All of this stuff right in here, all of this is just part of this production of organic solvent, and it's not even a lot of organic solvent either. Just going to throw that out there. That concept is this isn't a lot of organic solvent either. And also, this is close enough to 1-to-1 that I have decided that this is going to be 1-to-1, such that I have scaled my titanium already up here. See, I have added all of this to double my titanium ore output, and I have scaled this out a little bit just to make the science go a little bit faster. Because my science was what was being limited by titanium production. It's the biosamples, it's the biocontainers that are bottlenecked by the production of titanium for green science, and will perpetually be a bottleneck, I think, in PyBlock, just the sheer amount of titanium that you need. But yeah, I did the thing. I scaled, but this does at least give me the opportunity to grab this doohickey right here. I have to delete that I'm probably just going to delete all the power poles in here too, because I have upgraded myself to the medium power poles. I'll go ahead and save that blueprint. And I need how many? I need 5 washers worth, so let's let's go ahead and do that. I will do this right in here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'll go ahead and put down another doohickey right around there, or set to build another doohickey right around there. This, however, is outside of building range, so of course I need to go and manually grab a Pybo port. There you go. Enjoy the Pybo port. There we go. Now, power. A beautiful and glorious thing known as power. Oop, that was one tile. One tile off. There you go. Everything powered. So that's 5. That's what I need on that front. That will all go into a solid separator. I do, however, need to filter out the gravel. Grab that rich dust off the sides. The gravel will need to get voided. That's just something that needs to happen. I'll go ahead and plop that right there. Grab the requester chest too to just do that. Stack, please. And power everything. Solid separator. I should have that. There. Solid separator. 1. Beautiful. Solid separator, yes? Yes, 1. Just 1. Give me things. Give me chromite sand and iron oxide. So, one of these is going to be iron oxide. And it is going to also need to void when it's full. So I need to figure out, probably just place another one of these. That's fine. Have that. Prioritize the direction. What shall be my next tech? That is always a great question. Let's do this crafting speed 3, 4, and 5. Because we need all of the handcrafting. All of the beautiful, glorious, wonderful handcrafting. Must be mine. It must be mine. Sure, that sounds reasonable. Oh, that's out of network. Here, make it in network. There you go. That seems reasonable. Now we have to do the stuff with the chromite sand. But first, I need propene. 2 gasifiers makes propene. Gasifiers, where art thou? I'm not carrying around any at the moment. Gasifiers, please bring me the gasifiers. They're being made somewhere in this mess. Also, just want to point out with PyBlock, you do actually need to make these wrought iron gear wheels because you do need to make steam-powered soil extractors. They get used for the botanical nurseries. Yeah, steam-powered soil extractors are required for the Mark 1 botanical nurseries. Little weird, but sure. It is like the only required use of these wrought iron gear wheels over the course of the entire game. But hey, sure, it's fine. That's fine. We'll use them, I guess. You don't even need them for the seaweed crops. You don't need them for the fish farms, Mark 0 fish farms. But yeah. Also, I have a few I have a few fish farms and seaweed crops, just a few of these things stored up, ready to go. Just a few. A few. Let's see. I need 2 beautiful gasifiers to make me propene. Propene. This stuff right here. It does need syngas, and it. Oh hi. That would help. That would help a lot. And it needs steam. It needs a little bit more than a single boiler's worth of steam. Am I even carrying around boilers? Oh yeah, so by the way, this stupid thing. The Pi suite has several instances in the migration scripts where it's telling the game to reset tech effects at the moment, and something seems to have happened in one of the more recent updates to Factorio, where resetting tech effects essentially removes and re-adds personal logistics, and the game doesn't save your requests. If you remove the personal logistics and re-add it through the resetting of tech effects, it wipes out completely every single request that you have in personal logistics and auto trash. Completely gone. Wiped. Which, is not ideal. And apparently, yes, I figured that mods for exporting this and importing this are in the works. That I'm surprised actually that doesn't exist already. It 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 needs to happen. Like I would like to see Factorio add in an export and import feature like as part of the base game for personal logistics and auto trash. There should be a way to convert to string and import the string for the logistics and auto trash. I mean, if Hellmod can do it, right? Like if Hellmod can do it with the upload and download on the production lines, then it should be possible to do the same thing with the personal logistics. I mean, if you can do that sort of string saving already as a feature of the game, uh, because it does that with like the map strings and the saves strings. And since I see with Hellmod that it can be done with actual mods themselves and stuff that you put in with mods, then it should be possible with this. This gets saved somewhere, right? This gets saved somewhere. So in your save game. So if you're able to read this memory and export it to a string, and then also be able to have the string get imported back in to define these things, it should be within reason for those to be available. Any hoozle, I needed a couple of boilers with water. Always, always, always have water. Never forget your water. I'm going to put the power poles there. Just add pipe. And there we go. And then add in syngas. So, syngas. Where am I gonna pull in the syngas from? That is always a good question. It looks like I've brought syngas over this way already a little bit. So, is this line free? Yes, it is. I can bring it down. Whoops. From ya. Ta-da. The question is, can I string it through here? I can bring it through this way. That's, I think, the best way to sneak it through. And there we go. Just add lead. Just add lead. Glorious and beautiful. And of course, I would pick a spot that wasn't powered. Bring me lead. Bring me glorious lead. This also makes water that can be straight up pitfalled. And that is propene. Do I want to add this propene onto the rest of the mall? Not really. I mean, that doesn't seem all that valuable. What would be valuable, though, is taking all this together to make the beautiful acetone, which we are now ready to do with the FB reactors. I need 2 beautiful FB reactors. Let's see if it's possible to have these side by side. Probably not. We shall see. Where are you? Acetone. It is. Yes, I can work with this. This we can work with. And it is exactly 20 each, and that is 20 each, so yay, 1 to 1. Add propene. Propene in here. I'll add it from below, just to have that. It will output acetone this way. That makes it easier there, but I do need to, you know, input a solid. So that is how I will input that chromite sand. And power, power, and power. And add copper. That stupid power pole. Okay, I need to actually break this a little bit. You. Copper. Copper plates. Go, go, go. Do your thing. Bring me my copper plates. And that will be acetone. Now, I went and I closed my pinned window. That is that. just add one chem plant. One whole glorious and beautiful chem plant. Where are my chem plants? Also get rid of all that sand. I don't need that sand. I don't need that chromite sand. I don't need that rich dust. Clogging up my inventory. Chem plant. Beautiful, wonderful, glorious chem plant. Source of syngas, source of acetone. Oh, I hear noise. There is a cat that wants to join, but will not join for a little bit more time. Just a little bit longer. Kitty's gonna wait a little bit longer. Gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Now, that is ever so slightly annoying. There, I guess. Now, I'm going to delete the excess ammonia here. I always forget, is ammonia gas vent or pitfall? I'm pretty sure it's pitfall. I never remember this. We'll find out if this gets a void icon on it. It did not. So that would mean that, God, that kitten, silly kitten. Yeah, see, that's the one. There we go. All right, now to get this over to here. Oh boy, let's work it from here. So it'll be on this line. From over here, I guess, would be the easiest way. Let's get this brought over. And then down. Ah, that is not the line. One tile. That's all I need. Just... yeah. Just one tile. This cat, I swear, I'm going to do things to you. Let me get off of the thing so I can just tell my bots to delete that. Please get rid of this. Please get rid of this. Bots? Hello? Are you really? Yes, you are. You are really going to come from way up there to do this command. Oh, there you are. There you go. We have one hero moving from one side to the other. Here, let's... There you go. I just need the one tile. I just need that one tile. But there is the organic solvent. Huzzah! The beautiful organic solvent. I'm out of coffee. That's a shame. That's a shame. Alright. So that is that part. The rest of this can be done where I'm actually doing the processing of the niobium. Now, I just need to make sure that I have a few chemical plants, as well as the electrolyzers, which I do. I need a classifier, which I do. Ball mill, couple ball mills. I don't see ball mills. Ball mills? Ball mills. Wherefore art thou? Ball mill. I don't have ball mills. Really? That's odd. Pretty sure that I would have at least set that, of all things. Okay. Let there be stuff. Give me ball mills. Yeah, those would be great. Ball mills would be amazing to have right about now. I'm just limiting all of these chests to 2. Autosave is autosaving. I should have all of this stuff. Maybe not the circuits, though. Maybe not so much on the circuits. Yeah, really weird. I thought I was prepared. I was obviously not prepared. Let's steal a few circuits from other things. Throw that in there. And in there. There we go. Gib! Gib of the ball mills. There we go. Gib ball mills. Alright. That should be it. I should have the jaw crushers and the evaporators. And that is it. Alright. We're ready! We're ready for the Neo. Now, the other point to make is, do I bring a line down for the Neo plates? I think I will, so I may as well start to draw this line. Yes, I may as well at least start drawing this line. Note, I did also off-screen add this nickel. I added my nickel line so that I could automate the Mark 1 atomizers. That was the idea, and the whole point. Now, this is going to use all of my belt running up here. Every single unit, because this bus is over 1,000 units long. So what I'm going to have to do is just run up with this, then run back for my bots to catch up to me, to give me all of my belt back. Or I go to the other location where I have belts being made on the bus itself, which we are pretty close to in the grand scheme of things. We are pretty close to it. Right over here. See, isn't it glorious? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's get another 10. Let's have 2,000 units of belt, because yes, I also have taken tech that gives me more inventory slots. It's glorious and beautiful and magnificent and wonderful things. Beautiful things. Okay, question of the day, of course, is always going to be, where the hell am I doing all this? Because I also need to bring pipe. I need pipe. These 3 pipes. The most important pipes. For what I'm about to do. How far up am I going? Whoops. Oh, I turned off alt mode. So the Neo is here. Right down in here. So that's good enough, I think. I need a whole... How many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 13 buildings? Can I fit that here? Probably not. Well, between these things, I can likely do what I need to do. Now, I do need to take the next tech. I do need to do 2 evaporators, giving me salt from saline. That is ideal. These 2, though, will be used to feed 3 electrolyzers. So if I can grab my electrolyzers and attempt to place these in such a way, that's not actually going to happen, sadly. So let me see. 1, 2. You are going to be making the neo pipes, or the plates. Oh, right. I forgot. I also need to be using hot air for this. So I actually need a lot less than what I've set up all of this for, because I'm going to actually use the hot air recipe. I did not remember that that existed, frankly. I do, however, need to see how much... Wait, I'm looking at ingredient. I want product. I want this recipe, which is going to use significantly fewer stuffs. Less stuffs. Make better use of my ammonia, that's... or my urea, in particular. That's really what's going to happen here. It's just better use of urea. 30 hot air, though. Wow. 30 hot air. That's a lot. Where is my everything? There's gotta be something I can just copy. Oh yeah, by the way, Glassworks were updated. Glassworks buildings were updated. They now have different fluid ports than before. That was fun, fixing that. Ahem. That was fun, fixing my Glassworks buildings. Ahem. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, cough, cough, all that stuff. Oh yeah, I don't have any of these guys. Let's make these guys. Right, quick. So yeah, it's just I wanted to do something along these lines to feed these, just like so. You're producing 72,000 per minute on coke oven gas. Yeah, it would be nice to eventually get into that. So this, yeah, 3.3 stone brick. I would need a bit of setups making stone bricks for that. How much is that? This is 1.25 each, which means I would need 3 of these setups. Oh, that's my alarm. I am now getting my alarm saying it's time to take a break. We are halfway through the stream today. For those of you who are watching the VODs on YouTube, that'll be the end of our video for the day today. I would like to thank you all for watching. I will be back in the next one where we will continue on with making the Niobium. For those watching live, I'll be back in a few minutes after my break where we will actually finish building out this Niobium. I will be back shortly.